title. Is there any conflict in it? Forget that.
Islam on court. We still got 2 minutes.
Praise God.
Praise God, you're right. Praise God.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely right. Praise God.
See, I don't like this shit here, because if we got names together,
Yes, sir.
they don't even have my name on here. So, you know that's an error. You know that? I did, I looked at the government.
Hope we all doing okay today on this rainy day.
There's no way I wasn't here in 21.
Praise the day.
This picture.
Islam. Allah, Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My
salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
And
by day. Through his holy prophet. Through Ali. Amen.
Amen.
All understanding? I give praise to Allah.
I give praise to Allah,
the Father of the universe.
the Father of the universe.
Father of us all.
Father of all.
I give honor to the noble prophet.
I give honor to the noble prophet.
Founder of the Moor Science Temple of America.
Founder of the Moor Science Temple of America.
I give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey.
I give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey,
Who paved the way for the prophet.
who paved the way for the prophet.
I give honor to our past leaders of Moor Science Temple of America.
I give honor to our past leaders of the Moor Science Temple of America.
Brother C. Kirkman Bay.
Brother C. Kirkman Bay,
F. Nelson Bay.
Brother F. Nelson Bay,
J. Blakely Bay.
and Brother J. Blakely Bay.
All of you. I give honor to our present Grand Sheik, the leader and moderator.
I give honor to our present Grand Chief, leader and moderator,
Brother R. Jones Bay.
Brother R. Jones Bay.
And I give honor to all elected officials,
I give honor to all elected officials,
national and local.
national and local.
I give honor to all things that the prophet brought.
I give honor to all things that the prophet
For
brought,
the uplifting of fallen humanity.
for the uplifting of fallen humanity.
Peace. Salvation, our God, unity, the Moor Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution, and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moor Science Temple of America is the power to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moor Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moor Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is a holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh. On the Friday the first man departed out of flesh and descended unto his Father God, Allah. For that cause Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moor Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must observe these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moor Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part, any portion of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moor-Shemurgs are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all of the living acts of the Moor Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessity of the Moor Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to live faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children. Look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moor-Shemurgs must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine comes from the holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Noble Drew Ali founded Moor-Shemurg prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Moor Science Temple of America, Home Office 2905, 5th Street Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20032. Now, from our additional law about the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Act 1, Grand Chiefs and Governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let me find his property or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finances, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction and censored by the prophet. Or the Grand Sheik. Act 2. All members are to attend their added meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around in the mirror period, she'll be fined 50% on the first case, and on the second, he will fine $1, which will go in your emergency fund. If members work, then monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the more submitted fund, which takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to finance, to aid in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is aiming to the cause. But lifting his own people, justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power of this in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag, or to rather against a church or any member of any organized group, because we ought to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school. And the teacher must confront himself to the questionnaire. Every member exercises 5 senses who was able to do so, because after from Sunday school come the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and the last one 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Moor-Shemurgs are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern Southwestern Shores of Africa, Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all the lifting acts of the Moore Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moore Science Temple. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother for the industrious and become a part of their uplifting and fallen humanity. Emotional marriage must keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine comes from your holy prophet, Noble Jurali, to the guides. With Father God, peace.
Peace.
And we're doing well, Morris. I'm going to turn you right over to our Sunday school instructor, which is our grand chief for the P. Chase Hill. Also, he is the chairman.
Read from the Koran.
You're right. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what happens when you're Russian, you know. Thank you very much. I'll just read Noble Jurali, the prophet and founder of the Moore Science Temple of America, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Thank you again for the gift today. And I welcome you all to our Sunday school. Here we are to exercise our 5 senses. Hopefully, as you will get something out of this that will help you in your journey. So without further delay, I'm going to call our Sunday school instructor for the P. Chase Hill, who is the national chairman of the Moore Science Temple of America and the Grand Sheik of Temple 71.
Praise God.
Please.
Islam?
Islam.
See how much American prayer news?
Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, through our lead. Amen.
Praise be to our Islam host.
Islam.
Good to be here for Sunday school, which is where we come in. Exercise our 5 senses where we come to confirm ourselves to the questionnaire. We come to practice our teachings. I made a questionnaire. I got one over here. Now keep it on you. How many you have?
Just two.
Okay, you can. Now that's more literature. I get one over here.
Everybody.
No. Now, do you have one?
Yes, I do.
All right, praise God. Everyone has literature. Anybody downstairs need to come upstairs. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody feels good. It's good to have you all out. It's good to be steadfast and obeying the prophet's laws so that we can come and grow and unfold as we should. And certainly it's good to see those who we hadn't seen from the last meeting. And pray that Allah is blessing you and that you're feeling better and doing well. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where is the nearest place we can meet him?
In the heart.
Who is Noble Jurali?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
A prophet is all of the law manifested in the flesh,
What is the duty of a prophet?
to save nations from the wrath of Allah.
Who is the founder of the Moore Science Temple of America?
Noble Jurali.
What year was the Moore Science Temple of America founded?
1913 AD,
Where?
Newark, New Jersey.
Where was Noble Jurali born?
In the state of North Carolina, 1886.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
Why are we Moorish Americans?
Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America.
For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
For the uplifting of all humanity.
Praise be God. And we just went through the first 15 questions and answers. Very high information that prior to coming into the Moorish Science Temple of America, I would feel safe in saying that the majority of us, unless we had been introduced to these teachings before in some fashion, did not have reference to these questions and answers. And what do you take from them? What do you see in reference to these first 15 questions and answers? There's so much information in there. What comes to mind? What strikes you? Something that should pique all of our interest. Something on this page we just read should be of interest at all of it. Now, something may have jumped out at you that you find that this was something that I really wasn't familiar with. Islam, Brother Martin.
Islam. I just like that in the questionnaire, it lets us know that we are descendants of Moroccans and not Morocco. So that denotes that we are descendants from the people and not necessarily the land.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Anyone else? Islam, Brother Jackson Beck.
The simple thing for me, the first one is that I'm able to have a relationship with Allah.
Cool.
Because I didn't have a relationship prior to not knowing me anyway.
Yes.
And then further down, it's about teaching them to be themselves about my character. My character was way out of order until I started practicing.
Cool. And it's good you said that till you started practicing. Just having this information don't mean that you won't automatically change your character. You have to practice. I'm glad you put that in there. Islam says, Shayla,
Islam, what's stuck out with me is that you say where's the nearest place we can meet him at, and I learned that we can meet him in a heart.
Yeah.
And he's not up there, he's within.
praise God. And that's good to learn. Very good to learn. Yes, indeed.
No. I guess you can say we don't learn about our nationality more. 'Cause a lot of us didn't know what our nationality was at the time.
And that's what stand out a little bit from those first few questions to you.
Yeah.
Your nationality. Praise God. And we know that we were clinging to names and principles that deluded to slavery, calling ourselves Negro, black, colored, and many other things. Praise Allah for waking us up. How did the prophet begin up with the Moorish Americans?
by teaching them to be themselves.
What is our religion?
Islamism,
Is that a new or is that the old time religion?
old time religion.
What kind of flag is the Moorish?
It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center.
What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
Which is our holy day?
Friday,
Why?
because Friday is the day on which man was formed in the flesh, and it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh.
Who was Jesus?
He was a prophet of Allah,
Where was he born?
in Bethlehem of Judah in the house of David,
Who were his father and mother?
Joseph and Mary.
Will you give him brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz, Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, Josiah, and Herod.
Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth?
To save the Israelites from the iron and oppressions of pale-skinned nations of Europe, who governed a portion of Palestine at that time,
How long has that been?
about 2,000 years ago.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was a Moabitess,
What is the modern name for Moabite?
Moroccans,
Where is the Moroccan Empire?
Northwest Mexican,
What is the modern name for Mexico?
Africa,
What is the title given to our ruler of Morocco?
Sultan,
Where do we get the name Jesus?
from the east.
What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes,
It
it
cannot
cannot
be
be
used
used
by
by
those
those
who
who
are
are
slaves to
slaves.
sin.
What is an angel?
An angel is the thought of Allah manifest in human flesh,
What are angels used for?
to carry message to the four corners of the world to all nations.
What is our prophet to us?
He is an angel of Allah who is sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah.
What is the everlasting gospel?
It is the same power that comes from Allah to us and from Allah by His prophet.
What is the covenant of the great God Allah?
Honor thy father and thy mother, that their days may be long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee.
At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
At the age of 12,
Where did he teach?
in the Africa we moved.
How long did he teach?
18 years.
What did Jesus say that would make you free?
Truth.
What is truth?
Truth is all.
What is all?
All is Allah.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change or pass away.
What other name do we give to truth?
Holy breath.
What have you to say about holy breath?
All we can say is great, was good, it was, it is, and ever will be. Amen.
At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden,
Where is the Garden of Eden?
in the land of Canaan, the city of Mecca.
What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
Mecca.
What is the name of the first physical man?
His
It
name,
cannot be used only by the executive rules of the AC and the MST of A.
What are the words of AC of the MST of A?
At that chamber of Moore Science Temple of America, third heaven.
Who were Adam and Eve?
They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims.
Where did they go?
They went into Asia.
What is the modern name given to their children?
Asiatics,
Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away?
angels,
What is the modern name for those angels?
Asiatics,
What is the shade of their skin?
all.
Are the Morse Americans in relation to those angels?
Yes, we all have the same father and mother.
Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast.
What is the devil sometimes called?
The Lord self.
How many cells are there?
2.
Name them.
Higher self and lower self.
What people represent the higher self?
The angels who protect the whole city of Mecca.
What people represent the lower self?
Those who cast out the holy city and those who accept their teaching.
What is the higher self?
The higher self is mother of virtues and harmonies of life, with grace, justice, mercy, love, and right.
Can the higher self pass away?
No,
Why?
because it is Allah and man.
What does the lower self breed?
Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms.
What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met it?
Where are you going, Satan?
What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self?
I'm going to and for the earth, seeking whom I may die.
Has he finished his task of devouring?
Yes.
When was his time declared out?
When he nailed Jesus on the cross.
What are the last words Jesus uttered?
It is finished.
What did he have reference to?
He
He had reference to the end of Satan.
Did Jesus say that he would return the Comforter?
Yes.
What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated?
Prophet
Muhammad the Conqueror.
Was Satan to be bound then?
Satan was to be bound in heart.
When was the head of Satan taken off?
1453 Byzantine
By whom?
by Muhammad.
Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations in 1774.
Negro, black, colored, and Ethiopian.
Negro.
A name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it became black waters.
What is meant by the word black?
Black, according to science, means death.
What does the word colored mean?
Colored means anything that can paint, stain, varnish, or dye.
What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopia means something divided.
Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian?
No,
Why?
because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God.
What title does Satan give himself?
God.
Will you define the word white?
White means purity, purity means God, and God means the Lord of man.
To whom do we refer to at times as being the great God?
Allah.
Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah?
No, it's the shadow of our old self who will pass away.
Who made the devil?
Elohim.
Who is Elohim?
Elohim is the 7 created spirits that created everything that was, is, and ever want to be.
What is Elohim sometimes called?
The 7 eyes of Allah.
How many days are in the circle?
7 days.
How many days are in a creation?
7 days.
According to science, how many days are in a year?
7 days.
Praise be to Allah.
Lord, you know.
101 questions that we just read the answers to. Now, our job is to do what? Or what is part of our, should be our determination. In order for us to come, it says in our additional laws, we should let every member exercise their 5 senses who are able to do so, because out from your Sunday school, becomes the guidance of the nation. Now, we gone through our questionnaire, read 101 questions and answers. What is it that we should do or be working on in order for us to come out of this Sunday school, become the guidance of the nation? What are some of the things we should be doing?
Trying to connect it to our Koran,
Trying to connect it to our Quran. And why is that?
because the answer there lies in and give you a better perspective of what they're talking about.
And what is one of the most obvious things that goes to the point that you're making? And when I say that question, when I ask that question, what is one of the most obvious things that go to the statement that the brother just said? Because if y'all heard what he said to connect to our Koran. I might not be saying it verbatim, but that's the gist of it. And what is one of the most obvious things that support what he just said?
Study.
Exercises, sciences.
Come on, bro.
Korean question, almost Americans,
And where's that at?
on the questionnaire.
Exactly. That's one of the most obvious things to support his point. These are Koran questions. Koran questions.
Praise God.
So they have to be in the Koran.
And the Koran.
Yes. So if we take the obvious, because the prophet said it will make it plain, all we have to do is take it and look at it from that point of view. While it is a very high science, it's a science that we're supposed to be able to decipher based on our commitment to our practice and study. And with these divine instructions as a part of Allah that's in us, these things will be revealed to us. So, what else, Morris? Out from our Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Make the connection through the Koran. What else should we be doing to become guidance of the nation of being in here? Sister Daria.
Also, with the connection, trying to implement them within our everyday life.
In our everyday lives. Praise out. Anyone else? Come on, Sister S. Johnson Ill. Give me something that you got.
The thing that just came into my mind was purification.
Purification, that's a large part of it. Very large part of it. Yes. And why purification? Why does that come to your mind?
For me, before coming to the More Science Simple America, not having knowledge of who I am, there were things that I allowed, things that I accepted, that it goes against the character of a Moorish American. So the purification piece works for me is understanding that there's things that I have to clean up to perfect my character.
Good, good. That's exactly good. What else, Moses? How do we become guidance of the nation? It has to be something, brother. J. Crawford here. Give us some insight on that, huh?
Application.
Application.
You apply what you retain
You apply what you retain.
in reference to becoming a guide in the nation.
Good.
So study, practice, application.
Because application does what?
Anointing.
I know you wisdom.
It also fortifies you with the anointment.
Good, good. It does. Application anoints you with the oil of wisdom, and it does fortify you. Because you apply these lessons and you live them through that application, and you start to see. And you start to raise your thoughts. Because where's wisdom? Where's wisdom at?
The highest plane of spirit life.
Yes,
It's the consciousness.
yes. You had your hand up, Sister Debbie?
Yes, I was going to say, and that goes back to what Sister Johnson Neal was talking about, purification.
Yes.
You got to purify your hearts and minds in order for this to come in and to be effective, right? You can't mix it because you're trying to mix truth with falsehood. So the purification that the sister was talking about is very important in order to apply the application.
Yes, we must work on purifying our hearts and minds. Islam,
But first we have to clean up a lot of mess that's within us. Then, you know, then you can accept the purification.
that's how you
That's how
purify.
you purify.
You right on it.
Clean up some stuff.
Yes, you're right on it. And how do you clean up? That's something we gotta really think about. How each of us got our own journey. And along our journey, getting here, not only did we pick up things along the way, and you talked about it earlier, about what we accepted, but also we learned that we got what? Two selves. Yes. And that one self is the one that's supposed to be the one that we must do what?
Control,
Imitate.
contain.
Do.
All of that being said, now y'all describing it, but how about just the one word? Fight.
Right.
We must fight. We must fight that lower self. Because he don't want us to clean things up. He wants us to hold on to some of that stuff
Exactly.
and not let it go. Not just what we accepted on our journey here, it's what we're holding on to since we've been here. Because the purification process doesn't stop just because we join.
So the willing sacrifice, we got to know that we got to make sacrifices in order to let go of some things.
Not and in our reality, letting go of the things that would never do us any good is not a sacrifice.
Excuse me.
That's the process that makes you free.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to get out of the illusion. That's what we've been accepting all this time. The illusions of the world. And giving them more energy than we have been giving the Most High. And so he sent the prophet to do what? What did he send the prophet to do?
Yeah.
The prophet know what you already.
Bring us out of the darkness into the marvelous
Bring us out of darkness into the light. Come on, everybody should have something. What did he send the prophet here to do? Redeem us. What did he send the prophet here to do, Brother A. Singler? Uplift on. What did he send Brother E. Singler?
Wake us up in love.
What did he send the prophet here to do, Brother in hers here?
teachers.
The teacher, what did Brother J. Morris Bay?
Bring us the truth.
Brother J. Morris Bay.
Bring us the truth about our religion and our nationality.
Brother J. Wood here.
Teach about our birthright.
Brother J. Jackson Bay.
Give us a pattern.
Brother T. Martin here.
The redeemers from our sinful ways.
Brother J. Cameron Bay.
Teach us to learn to love instead of hate.
Sister D. Jones Bay. We're gonna get back to you, brother. Bay.
So, I mean, all prophets are warned. A prophet warns us. All prophets are warned.
Okay, good morning, Sister. Back to D. Jones Bay.
To help us to grow closer to Allah.
Yes,
Yes.
Brother P. Chase here. To learn to love is still ahead.
Yes.
You repeat it. All right. And then I'll tell you what. In the help of the great program of this practice and establish the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He brought us so many things.
Yes, he did.
And not only all of us had the opportunity to share our portion on that one piece, we could go around and keep going around. Because the prophet has come.
Good example.
Yes,
Yes.
and the prophet has come to do so many, he's done so many things for us and has continued to do so many things for us. And to help us to build up character. And so that we can be beneficent and charitable and know our social duties and be sincere. So it's all these things that help in building up a Moorish American mind through proximate teachings.
It is not, sir.
Islam.
And with that being said, you know, I wasn't privy to none of that before joining the movement, what the prophet has done,
Right?
or what he has brought.
Yes.
Even though Jesus, did some mighty works also
Of course.
in his early time, but he came to the Israelites. The prophet came to us. And it's the same spirit
Yes.
in all nationality.
And that's good. And both came to all humanity, but they had some specific duties
Yeah.
and some universal duties that they had to accomplish. And they did a great job. And they were both, along with others, and when I say along with others, because even in here, what do we learn about the prophets?
He's everyone's prophet.
Yes, and what else we learned in
He's a
here?
thought of Allah.
And just on that thought that you were saying, in reference to Jesus, who was the person at whom Jesus first reincarnated?
Is Jesus come again?
Now, what does that say to you when you read that? Who was the person at whom Jesus was first reincarnated? What comes to mind?
That he can't be reincarnated.
That's
That man
one.
could be reincarnated.
Like the spirits are one and the same.
That's two.
As the work goes on.
That's three.
Divinely prepared.
Yes, sir.
The first meaning that Prophet Muhammad was the first. But he also reincarnated times after that.
That's the point. He letting us know he first reincarnated. Jesus did. And into the form of Prophet Muhammad.
Praise him.
But that lets you know if he used the term first, that he's reincarnated more than one time. Brother Jackson, but
Yeah, it lets us know also that truth doesn't change or pass away.
and that's correct. But what do all the prophets of Allah do?
What message?
Well, messages.
The same message.
Yes, because he just said it, because the truth don't change.
Yeah.
And that's correct. And they bring those messages in those eras of time that are befitting of the people who they're dealing with. Why is that? Or why do you think I said that? Maybe you was looking at it like I'm saying that. But even if I am saying it, and why is that?
What was the question again, Brother Grayson?
They bring the message of truth, but they bring them to the people. They bring that message to the people befitting of the era of time that they come. And I'm asking, why is that? When I'm using the term befitting, because of what?
There was a need.
Not only that, come on, brother, yes, everybody's in need, but all of us are fallen humanity. Come on, Brother Jackson, baby.
Well, for myself, the Holy Prophet Noble Draw is someone who I can identify with.
And that's
I
a
wouldn't be
good
able to identify with Confucius because of his language, his nationality, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, that's
Bring,
part of it.
bring him hope
And bring them hope.
and inspire them.
It's not.
I think he came to, our particular people at a particular time that he come, because it was time for us to be raised up.
And that's true too.
And it's the work that we have to do.
And everything everybody's saying is correct. It's fine, brother. More than brother Harris here.
It speaks about this being a new era time now, and I think in different ages we have different needs.
Praise
You know, the
God.
truth don't change, but still in different areas we have different needs.
Praise God. And that's it. I mean, we're moving along that line. Everybody's moving along that line. Come on, brother Harris here.
Yeah, I'm saying because the era of our time, the problems of this day different from the problems of
Yeah, and you want it. These are more advanced times we're in. So there are many things that have been introduced now that haven't been introduced in the past.
So our way of thinking is different from then than what it
Well,
is now.
it advances. Remember, we're unfolding.
Mhm.
And as we're unfolding in this electrified age, they didn't have cars during Jesus' time. They didn't have all this pollution and stuff going on during Jesus' time. They didn't have a lot of things, and not only along with the physical things. Remember, he teaches us in the Koran, a man's ideal is his God. And as man unfolds,
His God unfolds.
We unfold over a period of time. We unfold as we practice these teachings. And that doesn't all come to us in one age. Just like we talked about reincarnation for Jesus, we are reincarnated. Haven't we been here before?
Yes.
So the only way we're going to get back is that we reincarnate. Isn't that correct?
Yes or no?
Praise out.
Praise God.
So we come back in different forms, and we come back because of what? I see your hand up, Prophet here. Go ahead.
I was just thinking when you was talking about Earth times. The prophet said he can do what Jesus did. But it was a different Earth time, so it really was no need. For example, like,
Well, let's say this, and I hear where you're going. That's probably in the oral statements, I think. But it was something in reference to we weren't in the same condition or shape. I'm not stating it verbatim.
Yeah.
Remember, during Jesus' time, just to aid in that concept where you at, they were, and it's not much different, but they were under an iron hand oppression.
That's what I was going to ask.
Now, when I say not much different, we're still under that iron hand oppression, but it's in a more
Modern.
subtle way
Mm-hmm.
today.
yeah,
Just
they
as
too
slavery,
blatant like that.
yeah, just as slavery is not anything new to the world, because it teaches us that all nations have suffered slavery. But we suffered in a manner in which many things were taken away from us, including our nationality, our divine creed, and even being recognized as being human. So there were different psychological and game and things being introduced on us in this era of time that others may or may not have been subjected to during different eras of time. And also, when we talk about slavery, we also got to include when we conquered lands and took over different things, we introduced our way of thinking. But remember this too, when you reference the Moors during ancient times. Remember, we weren't practicing at all times with the principles either.
Mm-hmm.
See, we accepted their teaching. So when we started conquering places, we implemented things that were not righteous as well. And of course, we ultimately suffered from those ourselves. So we want to keep it all in perspective as to how this thing progresses and why it's important now for us to see out with a higher ideal than maybe when we first showed up or even before we got here. You know, if you saying you see Allah today, if you've seen him 30 years before you got here, or a time before, then you probably would have joined the movement way before now. But, you know, we take our time and we progress as we go.
Could you,
Yes, sir.
could you say, would it be fair to say that, 'cause in one hour, like you said, we straightened at the gospel, no, I said that, because we did not honor our creeds of our father and mother. And I was thinking about how things go in a cycle. Like we, like all the stuff that's going on today, the kids not doing their outrages and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And they're being punished for that because they're not respecting their mothers and fathers. Could that be in that
Oh,
show?
that's definitely in there.
Okay.
Not honoring the creed of their mothers and fathers, but also, how about the part that while we may look at the children or the young people today, how about the patterns that they follow?
Exactly.
How about the ones that are before them that show them? See, when we don't apply the principles, and this goes back to all of us. Many of us, and when we were coming up, and I'm looking at this group that's in here, we're all about the same age, or thereabouts. So our parents, while they may not have been in the temple, they operated under principles. Many of our parents operated under certain principles. Many communities operated under principles. There were neighborhoods and communities that held everybody accountable.
That's right.
For behavior. We just use that as a litmus test for behavior patterns. You know, at times in certain neighborhoods, you couldn't just rip and run and say and do and act out. You had a caution about you because it would get back to your parents, or you had a caution about you because so-and-so would find out. Even going to school, you know, you had something coming when you got home if you showed up. See, those were certain principles that were established for the conduct. Remember, our principles help to guide our rule of conduct. And so when those things were lost, and they started way before these young people right now, when those things started getting lost with us over the years, then the principles were dissipated, even society as a whole. There are certain things to a certain standard. And those standards no longer exist. Remember, you said the problems of life in a profound sense are moral and spiritual. Morality is lost today. There was a sense of morality many years ago. But those who operate and those who accept the teachings of the Lord's self, those who have put the demon self on the throne and allow him to call himself God, allow him to rule in this era of time. They're the ones who have set the pace for the disobedience to the laws of God. So we must reestablish it and set those principles back in place. And as he said, the David of the light slays the stronger light of the dark and seeks the Savior love upon the throne. Love has to sit on the throne. It's not David, it's love. David is used as a tool, just as we are being used as tools to guide, or hopefully will help to guide the nation. But love is ours. Ours is love. That's who must always be on the throne. Savior love. Praise God. Any other questions, comments? Coming out of our questionnaire, we talked about when this initially started, coming out of our Sunday school as the guidance of the nation. And that's one of the reasons why we have Sunday school. That is the reason, so that we can help in this great program. And when we guide the nation, what are we doing? That's just a question I'm posing.
Directing this course,
Directing what course?
the course of the nation.
Well, I thought it was ironic that was to guide the destiny of the movement.
Of the movement, yeah.
Yes, so what are we doing?
Leading by example.
Leading by example. In what way?
And then standing in your high self, extending your hand, uplifting.
Good. Now, one of the things you just said was important. Because leading by example, because we got two selves, we got to be careful. Because oftentimes we're not in our higher self because of the two that we have. And we may allow that other one to be what people see at times. especially when we're being what? In what?
Challenge.
In what?
Emotions
In constant.
and constant.
When we're being in constant, don't we escape ourselves and know I'm not right? Don't we change easily?
Whether we will or we not.
Yes. Isn't it hard for us to fix ourselves?
Yeah.
So inconstancy, being powerful in the heart of man, keeps us from always being at that level that we are striving to be. And that's why the fight must always continue between your higher and lower self. When he talks about the conflict, it cannot be told in words. We gotta fight no matter if anybody looking or not.
But
You
isn't
gotta
that,
apply these lessons, and you gotta be able to take your stand, and the stand that you're taking is against you. It ain't against nobody else. It's against the lower self and man. Come on, sir.
isn't that also leadership being able to show how to recognize your lower self, how to,
Yes.
come out, ask for forgiveness, speedy reparation. So we still showing leadership, even though we get out of ourselves sometime into that lower self. But we also know that that's going to happen. We know how to come back in to our higher self. Well, we need how to
How
recognize.
do you do that?
Hmm.
Right on that point you're making. What did he say in the book that we did? You making a point that sometimes we're not in our higher self,
higher self,
and we
yeah.
get away from it. But you say you bring yourself back.
I
So
bring
what you tell
myself
us in the
back.
book? Come on.
I just said speedy reparation. I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said that, and pray for forgiveness. And
I
strength.
didn't say, I missed it, but.
Oh,
I
I thought it was something else you said.
No, I was trying to get us to emphasize.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm
the
sorry.
emphasis I'm trying
Yeah, it has said that already.
direct our attention to is this. In guiding the nation, we use the prophet's words. We use the prophet's teachings. We make sure that should be the foremost that comes forward out of yourself before other thoughts come in. Make sure that the prophet's teachings come in. And that's what we use. We make a speedy reparation. Yes, our Lord self is strong, and we're not going to win every battle. You're not going to win because we don't have the strength, as he tells us, to be good nor evil entirely. We got to learn how to use the lessons that we can be content and be conscious of ourselves as often as we should be. It's wrong.
It's not, also the leader, must be impartial and just.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's certainly part of it.
Lead them right.
Yes. And what else makes good leadership? It's wrong, brother.
Principles make good leadership.
Yes.
And we have the five highest principles of the land.
And
Love, peace, freedom, and justice, and we must show that to the nations as the benefit of having a principle or being a principled people.
Yes. And what did he say a moral leader must do?
So the Koran and the divine constitution of God.
Yes. See, that's the whole point, is be able to pull what he's saying. Because the saving power lies in what?
The word.
In the
The
word.
teachings of the prophet.
Prophet says, speak my word, you can't go wrong.
And he said, what else about speaking his word? About him
Word
speaking his
speaks
word.
truth.
Yes.
And you more
More
so
than
that
that
he.
he. So we want to speak the words of the prophet, we want to practice, and we want to imitate it. The only way you're going to imitate the prophet is you do it like he said. We can have all the ideas in the world, but it may not be no saving power in what you come up with.
Let's stand
You
on the
may think
path.
it's right to you, but we got to stick with what's going to save us. So if we put what he says inside of us and make sure that we let that come out of us, that's how you guide the nation, when we imitate the prophet, and especially as Muslims and Muslims, because our duty is to keep the doors open so that Allah can drive the Moors in, will drive the people in, as well as making sure that this atmosphere is set for learning, for reception of knowledge, for the principles to be established, for us to be able to come into our house of refuge and be at peace. The people can actually see the principles being displayed. And one of the key things has to be established when people come into our holy place. Notwithstanding all of our differences of our makeup, our characters, what we're going through, we must show unity. We gotta have unity, because if people come in here and they see we don't have unity amongst us, just because I may have said or did something that you might not agree with in the moment, if you've been practicing, your skill set should be raised up enough that you can know how to deal with the next moment, so that you're not letting others see us outside of our character, or come in and see that they can formulate wedges. There has to be unity, because that's where our strength lies. If we don't have unity, we're weakening ourselves. And just because the idea I have today is not being adhered to, that don't mean that it won't. Tolerance and patience, he said, is better than unwarranted opposition. So let's make sure we're practicing on all scales and all levels, so that we can make sure that we can learn to accommodate ourselves to all. That don't mean you lower your principle or something out of order. But he's given us a skill set how we can even address that without seemingly being at each other's throat. That's the thing we got to practice here. So don't trouble you yet, Dad?
I was just thinking, so if you don't attend Sunday school, you can't become a God of the nation.
Not according to our laws.
Right.
Not according to our laws, you gotta come in here.
It's not, you can make all your other needs, but if you don't attend Sunday school, then you can't become a God of the nation. Now, on the other hand, he said, to be a good moral leader, just learn your Koran and the divine constitution and Bible.
Correct.
So it's a difference between the guider and the leader.
No, I don't see that. The fact of the matter is, both have to do, whichever one you're talking about, they still have to be a leader. You gotta know the divine constitution, bylaws, and the Koran, and you must study it. And to be a guider of the nation, you must study your literature. So it's either or. I mean, but not even that. And don't equate. Let's say this. Being a guide of a nation doesn't necessarily have to have you have to have a title. The guiders don't necessarily have to have a title. All of us in here as members of the Moral Science of America should come out of this Sunday school and be a guider of the nation. Because it's going to take more than one of us. It's going to take all of us to be guiders. Because if they see me around this corner, I see your hand, they see me around the corner this way, and I tell them, Temple is up the street there. They should be able to see you around the corner the other way. You're supposed to still directly to the temple. So it doesn't make anything. Or they should see the principles being displayed of a high quality of character, no matter which one of us in here that anybody meets. And that's why it's important that we watch ourselves and watch what we say and how we say it, even when we don't know that people are watching. The sincere man is consistent with himself. So we got to be consistent under all conditions. You should not be going back and forth or back to the state of mind or that state that the prophet found you just because you went around the corner. That shouldn't change what we do. Not when you have made the commitment to be a part of this great national and divine movement, and just putting that feather turban on your head does not put you in that state of mind. You have to build yourself up to that. And yes, coming to Sunday school is a must. It's not a option. It's not an option. The laws of the prophet board are not options for us. And in many cases, he says must. And we should take all of it as a must. How are you going to get this right if you don't do it like he says? You can't leave it out. We talked about the principles last week. You can't have one without the other. How does that work? It doesn't. This one.
Yeah, I was thinking when Brother J. Paul Will was making that statement about a God and a leader, you know, where the prophet, it was reported that the prophet said that it would take you 50 years just to understand what I brought you. So, you know, it's not going to happen being a guide or a leader just like that. It may be years before you become a guide or a leader, according to the prophet. It just don't happen right away. Peace.
You're right. You do have to continuously practice and work on yourself as long as you hear. But I would submit this. You don't have a timeline on being a guide or a leader. Once you proclaim your nationality as a Moorish American Muslim, and once you make the commitment to adhere to the teachings of the prophet and you're striving to practice these teachings, you may already be guiding somebody who's watching you, who's seeing your efforts, who's seeing your way of conduct. You may already be, and should be a leader because he teaches us from the very beginning and from the book about what the fathers need to do, about what the mothers need to do to set their houses in order. So your children are being guided and led by you. So it doesn't have a timeline. You get started when you get in here. That's why you start working on yourself right away. We're trying to change some things. We're saying that our condition, we think that our condition can be made better. Well, you start by, and as he said, how the prophet began up with the Moors and Mars by teaching them to be themselves. We start learning who we are. And you make those adjustments. You already made that step when you saying you're not Negro, black, color, either, but now you got to practice it. And that practice don't come years from now. That doesn't start right now. You can't go back and forth, dropping your ear on bait, depending on what the condition is. You got to be who you are from the moment that you come in here. That don't mean you're going to be perfect. That don't mean you're going to be always in the right order. But as you strive, you can start the process of, because you never know who's going to ask you, what's that bay on in your name? What's that ear on in your name? What's that all about?
That's true.
What do you practice? Who are you? You have them right there if you tell them the right thing. You explain these teachings in the right manner. You start to imitate the prophet. So it starts, it's a long journey, I grant you. But it's one that you have to start immediately. Remember, he says the wise man continues from his first period. Fool is always beginning. That's just let us know. When you woke up in love, now we went to talk about when you realize you're wise. Especially when you don't try to act like you are. But your wisdom starts to come when you can apply these lessons in your life and you see that you need some change. That's wise when we're in one condition and you're trying to get out of it. So you start to use these teachings to help you get out of those conditions that we created for ourselves that were never useful, that hurt us. And somebody's going to see you, and they may take your example. Say, Mo, I know you be going over there, and I'll be watching. I need some help too. It's on.
So when you start to guide, you start to be a leader, you start with yourself. If you lead yourself in the right direction, because the prophet said to, he from these lessons, that we can use them to save the nation, but he asks us to save ourselves.
Right.
So when we start to use these lessons to save ourselves, we guide ourselves toward salvation.
Yes.
And anybody else that looks at us, that reflects us, that sees our action, we can lead them on by our action, our words, and our deeds.
Yes. Especially if they accepting of it, you know. But you don't stop whether they accepting of them or not. You keep going.
Correct.
Because one of the things we know that we're learning is this: you gotta be consistent. You have to be consistent for men to rely on you. Nobody gonna rely on you. They see you this way today and that way tomorrow. They gonna know you ain't got them nowhere, because they say you don't know where you going. So when they see your consistency, that helps.
Sister Jones,
That's all I'm saying.
Yes, Mom. I was thinking about what you said about once you take out your nationality, or once you join the movement, that you become a guide. And I just see that part a little bit different. I see more what you said about committed, when you said you must be, when you become committed, rather than just when you join, because from my experiences, I've seen that, I mean, I'm thinking about the whole thing. Out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation, right? And to me, that implies not necessarily everybody, but out of that, out of those who are coming and who are studying, who are listening to the lessons being taught and expounded upon, those who are committed and who are striving, like you said, those are among those who become or can become the guiders of the nation. Because I don't know, I'm not doing a very good job of explaining
No,
what
I think I hear
I'm feeling and thinking about that when they join.
Well,
Because a lot of us, we didn't have very much information when we joined.
This look,
We didn't know very much about the movement when we joined.
this look.
As we grow and become a part of the movement, as we grow and study these lessons, as we decide that we are going to be committed to this and start to strive to make it a part of head and heart and to live the life accordingly, I think then is when we can actually become a guider, because our desires are geared towards trying to please Allah and trying to follow the prophet and trying to do it like the books say. Not necessarily, that's not necessarily happening when we first join. And people join the movement for a lot of reasons, and their reasons are not always honorable or for good reasons that they're joining. So if it happens when we take out our nationality card, when we sign on the line, when we say I want to be, that I'm, want to be a member, that may be what we think or want to happen, but if we're honest with ourselves, that's not always what's happening. And I just, for me, when I was listening to you talk, I heard more, I felt more that happens, like you said, when we are or become committed. Not just when we join, but when we get to that point where we're being committed. Before that point, I see it could be also, like you said, that we might be in our lower self, and that ain't guiding nobody to the right way, to the right place. And so we're still learning about that lower self and that higher self. We may not even know that we're still being in our lower self. So I just, I don't want to. I'm not trying to dispute what you're saying. It just,
let me just clarify.
I couldn't get rid of that thought.
Can I help you?
So Praise God.
Yeah. Remember, that part of that statement came in after Brother Crawford Hill was making a comparison between leadership and guidance.
Right.
And so leadership, oftentimes, you just, and I use the example of us, whether you're in the temple or not. I use the example of our parents.
Mhm.
There's parts inside of us that automatically puts us in the position of leadership and guiding your family, your children. They're following after you.
Mhm.
Now, you might not have had these teachings early on, but part of you still have the Spirit of Almighty God in you, your higher self, that may have established principles over a period of time prior to coming here. That gives you that leadership quality. Now, certainly, to lead them as it relates to the Moorish Science Temple of America and finding and learning these teachings. When Brother Cadmus Bay made reference to the period of time, I said that's part of it, but even as we're going through it, as we're changing our ways, we are guiding and leading certain people who are taking our example, who we have influence over, or who just see us as in a certain way.
And that's the part
That's where
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That whether you're a leader or just or a guide, either one, you're committed.
You may or may not be committed. You may, hopefully you're being committed. And that's the point that I was trying to make, that when we first come in here, and I said this part, for those of us who thought that our condition could be made better.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hold on to that,
Right.
from whatever point that you start,
Mm-hmm.
you're starting to make changes in your life. You start, and people start to see you differently, or at least you're making some attempts. Now, it's not going to be perfect because our alone is perfect. And maybe people's perception may not be, see you at a certain point or stage.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Brother Harris Blaze's point that he made, you got to start with self anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guiding yourself, that's the first step. So I think we're saying the same thing, but I hear your point that people could misinterpret, or you may be able to, you may not have built up enough strength to be, where you intended. And even people with the wrong intentions who come in here. But even with that, people may come in here with all the wrong intentions in the world. But Allah's still in them.
Yeah, I agree.
And something may touch them, notwithstanding what's level of education, level of what they've been through, because a lot of us have been through things, and we've allowed this carnal world to take our hope away, to put us in a state of despair, to let us think that it don't matter what they're talking about, it's still not going to work. And even those who we perceive, and this is an inside job,
Mm-hmm.
but I could perceive all of y'all as being committed. That don't mean you're going to be here tomorrow.
That's right.
You may, he said, I'm gonna guide some of you more all the way to salvation. You're gonna turn and go the other way. So that means they done spent some time watching the prophet, walking with the prophet, doing things with the prophet, and they went the other way. So we can't equate where nobody's gonna wind up. But I've been in here with certain people that if you would have asked me my personal opinion, I thought they'd be here now. So, who can say? But the overall point is for all of us who are trying, and you want to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to keep going, your leadership starts with you.
Yeah.
And it starts from the day that you said you're going to make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's going to change. You got to keep striving, because all of us have ups and downs.
Yeah.
All of us have days when you don't want nobody to see what you're doing. And when I say that, I don't mean you out there doing stuff, but even in your quiet moments, the thoughts that the Lord said will bring to you, the constancy that's powerful in our hearts. Some days, I don't want people to hear some of the stuff that I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being real about it.
Great enough.
Because this is what it is. We got two selves.
No.
But you try to make sure that your character displays that which you say you're about now. can do that, you know, we can help somebody. They wind up getting it here, they gotta do their own work anyway. If I could be the one to point, now, even though he said a block of wood could do the same, they supposed to see you coming. See, they supposed to see you coming. He said that you supposed to, the teacher must tread so they can see it, not verbatim, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so they can see your footsteps. Same way we're supposed to follow the prophet. And we know that the prophet is going to lead us in here. We trying to be like him, we going to lead others in here, not that we driving them in. When I say lead them in here or guide them in here, that's because they know at 2 o'clock on Sunday, at 7:30 on Friday, more times than not, Brother Chase is at the temple. Sister Jones Bay is at the temple. So-and-so is at the temple. That's their temple time. So we letting them know this is what we do. This is where we at. We've already set a pattern.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Praise God.
So praise God. It's not more.
It's not more. When I made the statement, I wasn't really trying to separate the two. I was just making
I
a
understand.
distinction.
It's right.
And I can concur with Sister Jones Bay. I mean, good for me. When I first joined, I was looking for some guidance.
Right.
Now, I could have been unconsciously guiding somebody, but
Of course you will.
yeah, but you know, I was looking for some help, some understanding and guidance when I first joined.
Yeah. And remember what he says in the book when we talked about studying the Holy Koran and the Divine Constitution. He said a good Moorish leader.
Right. Exactly.
See, we're talking about a specific Moorish leader. Just as a good member. Yeah, we're gonna have members and believe it. Trust this. They're gonna lead some people. They're gonna guide some people, the ones who ain't right. Because of the influence and because of other things. He said, woe upon him that scatters my flock. Well, we know the flock been scattered. They scattered when the prophet left the scene. We know the flock been scattered. But those people got to answer up for that. Yeah, they got to answer up for it. And that's one of the reasons why he said, let me find you. I believe anyway. You don't go following behind no man because he upset because who he think he is. You stay with the prophet. And that's what we do. Let's go in our Koran for a moment. Praise God. I hope I think we did good, Sister Joe, but no, you brought out a valid point. And that was good because we had to go back and reiterate, you know. And the point is, yeah, people got to be consistent. They coming in and just doing what you want to do or act like you. See, that's the hypocrite, making the words and symbols the truth. And they have a time until he's exposed. Yeah, they have a time. Y'all know it. And don't think that because we in here, everybody's straight. And I'm not talking about the mall. I'm talking about in our organization, in the movement. He tell you, he said he got some good more and he got some dirty more.
That's right.
See, that's why it's very important that we study and practice and learn all the things the prophets say, because he covered all bases. He didn't leave nothing out. He knows so many people, some of us. I ain't gonna just say so many people, but some of us not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. That's just a fact. Say my good Lord is gonna live. Now that should give us the admonition to be a good Lord. And we can't control nobody. I was just thinking before I came up here. I saw Brother E. Shingley on post, I see Brother A. Shingley on post, I see Sister J. Shingley up here. And the thought that came to me that the prophet said, you do good if you get one in the family.
That's right. What you say?
I got 3.
We'll be on chapter what?
9.
We're just gonna be brief. We got a couple of moments and Brand Sheet up there will take it up for us next week. Good to see you, Brother Brand Sheet. Praise God. It says, Jesus attends the feast and behold, and here he taught human equality. I'm just read these first few instructions on page 14. The fame of Jesus as a teacher spread through all the land, and people came from near and far to hear his words of truth. At Mahal, on the sacred river of the Bronx, he taught for many days. And Ash, a wealthy man of Mahal, made a feast in honor of his guests, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtiers. And Jesus sat with them and taught. But they who followed him was much aggrieved, because he sat with thieves and courtiers. And they upbraided him. They said, Rabboni, master of the wise, this day will be an evil day for you. The news will spread that you consort with courtesans, and men will shun you, that they shun an ass. And Jesus answered them and said, a master never screens himself for the sake of reputation or of fame. These are but worthless baubles of the day. They arise and sink like empty bottles on a stream. They are illusions and will pass away. They are the indices to what the thoughtless think, and they are a noise that people make, and shallow men judge merit by the noise. Allah and all master men judge men by what they are and not what they seem to be, not by their reputation and their fame. Praise God. Now, what do we get out of that? What's part of the message that you, and it's yours? See, all of that I just read, you supposed to get part of that message out of it. And that part is just what you see. What do you see? Come on, brother.
What I got on those instructions was that Jesus wasn't worried about his fame or his reputation.
Right.
That's why he was able to consult with some of the ones that was mislooked upon.
Okay.
And they souls was just as precious in outside of Allah as his.
Okay. Good. So Jackson Bennett.
As a member of the Most High, or a leader or whatever capacity I might be in at the time, me using the words of the Holy Prophet Ali protects me from reputation, fame, etc. You know, the prayer says that, you know, as long as I'm staying in line with what the prophet has taught me, and I'm using the words of the prophet, it doesn't matter whom I'm speaking to or what I'm doing at the time that I'm speaking to them. You know, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing according to the Holy Prophet Ali, I'm protected. You know, I mean, those who have shallow minds or those who have whispers or whatever, that's on them. That's their issue. That's not my issue to be concerned with. I'm supposed to keep forward doing what the prophet instructed me to do. Please.
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna get you my home for a second. And just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, when you're saying you're protected based on what we just read, you reference it where they said this day will be an evil day for you?
Correct.
Okay, good. I'm with you. So, Samuel, your brother, you had your hand up, Brother Calvin's back? Okay. Go ahead, Brother Samuel.
This one, we was talking about leadership and God and all that. And when you read the fame of Jesus, right, I could see Jesus as a leader, a guide.
Yeah.
I want to read this definition of fame.
What?
Widespread.
What is this?
Definition of fame.
Oh,
the fame of Jesus.
Okay.
Widespread reputation, especially of a favorable character, renowned public eminence. You know, so Jesus had a favorable character. The people came from near and far to see Jesus. He had a reputation as a leader, speaking the truth, and people came to see him. Peace.
Peace. That's good. It's fine, brother. You got your hand up?
Well,
Not yet.
I
Not
had
yet.
a book. Yeah.
Come on, I see you sit there, Lynn. Come on, I'm coming back around.
One of the important things that I got out of it is that the word of God is open to everyone. It's just not one set of people that will come to hear the word of God. When he came to bring that word, he brought in different sets of people to come to hear what that word was.
Okay, yeah, that's true, that's true. Sister Dale again, I'm gonna come up and get you, Sister Shania.
Islam, what I got out of that is the equality. That, you know, we are all seeing,
Go ahead.
that we all seem the same. We're no one person, no matter fame or, you know, or things that society considered to be of lower class, that doesn't make a difference. We're all the same. And we should all be treated the same. That's what I got out of that, the equality of mankind.
Okay, good job. Sister Shania?
What I got out of it is that Jesus didn't discriminate. He just accepted everybody. You know, everybody.
That was good.
That's all.
Yeah, you're right, you did. Come on, Brother Doug.
Yes, Islam, one thing I think about is chapter 7. He taught human equality.
Exactly.
He didn't allow, and when I think about it, it's like what Sister is that everyone was looked at as being one. No matter what their conditions were or what they like, how they was working out their life, they still had the right to be treated as those who were in higher places or any other way. And sometimes society has a tendency to look down on people because they're working out certain conditions, and you treat them a certain way, but you treat them the way you would want to be treated.
Exactly.
And I think about that. That helped me a lot in dealing with the things I face in the world traveling, because a person is out there and they doing something that may not be favorable to society. In the eyesight of Allah, their soul is just as precious as yours or the Brahmin priest. So you treat them with the same type of respect.
Exactly.
And this one, go ahead, Brother Jackson.
I also see that there's a high self-thought and a lower self-thought working at the same time in this chapter.
Oh, yeah.
So being fortified with the impregnable doctrine keeps you on a higher self-thought when you're serving others, when you're serving the public in general. You don't have to be concerned with what the naysayers are saying because you're doing that which you're directed to do.
Come on, Sister
Islam, I saw that, to me, what stood out is that Jesus was brave and self-confident. He wasn't even, giving a life to what people might have thought or how they felt about what he was doing. And and what it says in the chapter on religion, he respect not the stations, the persons or the stations of men. He just did what he did.
Right. That's really the point. Remember, he had been going on, it says, his fame as a teacher spread through all the land. And people came from near and far to hear his word and truth. So even at a wealthy man of the heart gave a feast and everybody came, Jesus kept doing what he was doing. Teaching. Now, those wealthy people, and we learned over the years through our study that many countries have caste systems, and they look at people at certain levels, and some, based on their system, cannot aspire to go but to a certain point. It's like about the poor toilers and all those, everybody, they didn't aspire to go to a certain point. And while these people had issues, the courtesans, the thieves, and the drunkards, remember what was the teachers of Jesus for? Who were they for? The common people.
Yeah.
The wealthy and the rich, he wasn't concerned about that from the beginning. Yes, they trying to draw him in. He expressed the honor. He accepted the honor that they gave by holding a feast. But he continued with his work. And when the common people showed up, that's who he went to. So he stayed on point with his lessons, and the point to this that comes out of this for me is, as we come out of here, as we raise ourselves up, as we start to become more astute to these teachings and able to share them and expound upon them, you gotta be aware of those who would try to win your favor or come to you to pull you off of your path because they want you to be distracted with what they want. Don't get sucked in. We see it take place with politicians. They started out as a grassroots brother or sister who did the work in the community and became whoever they became, a member of the council or a mayor or whatever. You don't flip on the people after you get to where you're supposed to be getting to. You still continue to serve. That's the message I got from him. He knew what they were saying about it, yeah, and that's good. But he knew his mission was, I got to keep working with my people to help them raise themselves up. Because the drunkards and the thieves and the courtesans, and I'm going to be brief, they needed the help more. They were at a certain state in their lives that they were being looked down upon, as you said. Who needs to be uplifted? All of them, but those who are in most need. Then he said he was going to those, asked about when he went to the school, so he could learn to support those in need. That's what he was on his mission. Come on, Mo.
You know, one thing too, Blanchie, I was thinking about is that he stayed focused on the mission that he was sent here to do.
Yes.
See, the thing I think about is when he was a child and his mother was looking for him, and he said, do you not know I must be about my father's work? And the thing, I think when I look at that with myself or with us, we can't lose focus on what we are here to do.
Yes.
You know, we cannot lose focus on that, no matter how high you may grasp this movement. We got to remind ourselves what our purpose is, to help serve humanity.
That's it.
And with all the fame and the reputation was what man had gave him. But he was able to stay focused and continue to do the work of Allah. And that's something that I learned. I'm learning from that chapter, that no matter where you may find yourself in this movement, you got to remind yourself of why you joined and what your mission and what the purpose of you being a part of.
Purpose of the movement.
Yes.
All of us should have that embedded in our hearts and minds. Even when you're going through something yourself, the purpose of the movement.
That's right. That's what it is.
Yeah, you can be struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But the purpose of the movement will help to raise you up to the point that you'll still be able to serve while you are trying to pull yourself out of certain conditions as well.
That's right. That's right.
And that does go to the point of leadership and guidance, because I always make this prayer, and I'm going after this. As in spite of whatever I'm dealing with or going through in my Lord, I pray that I always share with the people or whoever I'm in contact with, teachers of the prophet.
Praise right.
Praise
Peace.
Peace.
Praise God. That's right.
Islam.
Islam.
I want to thank Brother Pete Chase Ill, Grand Sheikh Temple 71, also a national champ. Good meeting, good Sunday school.
Yes.
And I've got some out of it, likewise, hope you got something. It was a good meeting. And so at this time, I'm going to call for our Grand Governor of Washington, D.C., Brother H. Harris Spade, to read proclamation.
Islam. First I give praise to Allah. Islam. First I give praise to Allah and honor the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to each and every one of you, and I give honor to everything Prophet Noble Drew Ali has brought for the upliftment of fallen humanity. Prophet wants all Muslim governors in order to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speech while they work in their homes or on the street. We offer peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at European and causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, and freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive a reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where our prophet found you. This is a holy divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of Prophet Noble Ali. Peace.
Peace.
Yes.
Islam. Now, take care of this. We're gonna get to business, Sunday school.
Father, universe.
Allah, Father, universe.
Father, love.
Father, love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.